Okay, so it's time. So welcome everybody. I'm Pierre Mazet, the president of the Lean Institute Belgium. I spoke 1 hour ago, and now I'm very happy to introduce one of our customers, Jacques Rossler, who is the Chief Information and Hospital Engineering Officer of HUB, a group of large hospitals in Brussels. He comes from, he has a family of doctors, so he's very knowledgeable about Toyota, about hospitals, but he also worked at Toyota in the past, so he also knows about Lean. So I was very happy that he asked me to work with the hospital and give some training and learn also about Lean in hospitals. And there's a lot of things to do that I think you will enjoy hearing him talking about this. So Jacques, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Pierre. I don't know if my slides are visible by the audience.
Yes.
Okay, so so let's start. We have a 5-section, a short introduction about the Lean. We speak about the Lean philosophy, the pillars, the training implementation, and then some Q&A session if you want to ask us some questions. So first part, as background, I am an engineer. I used to work in various industries, computer manufacturers, consulting, banking, insurance, and so on. As Pierre said, I used to work for Toyota Motor Europe during several years as IS manager for the spare parts depot in Europe and for the telematics, which is Google in the car, if you want to know what is telematics for Toyota at that time. In 2012, I joined an academic hospital in Brussels called Clinique Universitaire Saint-Luc as a CIO. And in 2021, I moved to another university academic hospital, which is Hôpital Universitaire de Bruxelles. Since earlier this year, I am not only the CIO, but I am also responsible for hospital engineering, which is building management and construction, and also biomedical equipment. So in a nutshell, what is HUB? So HUB stands for Hôpital Universitaire de Bruxelles. HUB is a group of 3 hospitals, an university hospital, which is Erasme, Children University Hospital, which is the only children hospital in Belgium, and a third one, which is the Jules Bordet Institute, which is an oncology hospital, and it is the sole hospital in Belgium doing only oncology. So the 3 hospitals came together to make a group called HUB. Our shareholders are the university, the Free University of Brussels, Université Libre de Bruxelles, and the City of Brussels. It's a non-profit university hospital. Our budgetary balance is a target, not the profit for itself. And all our profit is reinvested in new equipment, research, and so on. And also important to know, by law, 70% minimum of our physicians are on the payroll. So, Lean philosophy in a hospital. So today, most of hospitals apply Lean tools. As example, the customer first principle or the customer first tool, because we aim at a more streamlined patient journey. The 5S, we want to keep our workplace steady. We want to have it also in the hospital. The Kanban, a tool which is used, I would not say in all hospitals, but in almost all hospitals, certainly for the pharmacy stuff, and many others. But Lean is not just a set of tools. And just copying the tools won't give you the results. Lean, in fact, is really a complete paradigm shift. It's a new management philosophy that we have to introduce. The deep transformation of the hospitals with the results come from a better understanding and application of the philosophy behind the concepts. And this transformation needs to be supported and even strongly supported from the executive level. So our board of management, our chief executive officer, myself, we really support the implementation of that philosophy and the changes that it implies. Indeed, all employees need to be involved to create continuous improvement culture and motivation. And we will illustrate that today with the two pillars of Toyota Production System, even if there is a lot more to it. But let's start with those two pillars. So the two pillars of TPS are Just-in-Time and Jidoka, the foundation being safety first, Kaizen, visualization, and Monozukuri. And the two pillars enable the stakeholder satisfaction, not only the customers, in our case, the patient, the society, the shareholders, in our case, as I said, we are non-profit, in order to be able to reinvest, and certainly the employees being the physician, the nurses, and all the support departments in the hospital. So let's start with just-in-time. So what are the prerequisites for an optimal pull flow? Usually, we start by analyzing and removing first MURI, which is the unreasonable overburden, which is in fact the worst of the different elements. This should be removed first. The second one is MURA, which is the lack of leveling. Then we can organize leveling for a stable organization. And finally, MUDA, the waste. We remove then the 7 type of waste, and which is, and I will not read the slide for you, but you have the 7 type of waste there on your slide. So in a hospital, the customer is called a patient. So what does pull from the patient mean? What does the patient want? First, he wants to be cured or at least diagnosed in the shortest possible time. Secondly, he or she wants to be able to predict the time he or she will go out of the hospital. Some example, emergency room. Based on a quick triage, when can the patient expect to be treated? When can the patient expect to leave the hospital? Outpatients, the daycare, will it take 1 hour, half a day, a full day? How can we minimize waiting times? And inpatient, usually for an operation or any plant intervention, what is the planned time date of release? When does the patient need to come at the hospital? When will the patient leave the hospital? So what happens is when you can have a planned day and time of release, when you can have that information, you can visualize the gaps between the plan and the actual. You can perform systematic problem solving on these gaps. And as you know, problem solving is the core of Toyota Production System. But of course, you need to train and coach a high number of problem solvers in the team to make this possible. Apparently, simple problems may have a deeper root cause, and the willingness to tackle them depends on the top management support. Let's speak a little bit more about MUDA. By eliminating the MUDA systematically, we can achieve very ambitious goals. Example, removal of waiting rooms. Can you imagine a world where the patient would not have to wait to be seen by a doctor? In that case, would you still need waiting rooms? And in that case too, what happens if you arrive earlier than planned? What are you going to do? How are we going to wait if you arrive earlier? So some hospitals have started to do this, and Virginia Mason in Seattle is an example. So why shouldn't we not take the challenge to try it ourselves? We need to eradicate something which is very, very strong in a lot of hospitals, but also in a lot of industries. It will never work here, or it has not been invented here. But by changing that philosophy, that mindset, we can really achieve nice goals. Let's come to Jidoka, the second pillar. And then I will hand over for a couple of minutes to Pierre, who will explain the story behind Jidoka. Pierre-San, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Jacques. Yeah, the story of Toyota started not with automobiles, but with looms. And Sakichi Toyoda, the founder of the dynasty, saw his mother working very hard on a loom. He really wanted to help his mother, and she had to constantly look at her machine. And if the thread was breaking, she had to immediately take an action and solve the problem. So she could never get her eyes off the machine. And then he created many prototypes and many machines until he could finally end up having this automatic loom, which could stop by itself in case of a problem. And this is really the essence of Jidoka. It is not to stop the line like people say many times, because it's also done in the automobile factories now, but it is to help people. So why the worker in an assembly line is allowed to stop the line when he sees a quality defect is, first of all, because he sees a problem and he needs help and he cannot solve a problem by himself. Then he can stop the line and other people are obliged basically to come to him and give him attention and solve the problem. So this is the principle that you can apply to all human activities. And believe me, it is not applied any very well in many sectors. But this is, if you understand this essence, then you can do a good work. And it's the same for a hospital. So Jacques will now explain about concretely what it means.
So, in fact, there are three methods in Jidoka. There is poka-yoke, Andon, and GKK. So let's go across those three methods applied to a hospital. Poka-yoke. So poka-yoke or foolproof devices are there to prevent errors. What are the examples in a hospital? The most known or maybe unknown example are the different connectors for the different medical gas that we are using. As you can see on the picture, every connector has not only a different color, but also a different shape. So it prevents to have the wrong gas tube connected to the wrong connector. And so when you need oxygen, you get oxygen. When you need aspiration, you get aspiration, and so on and so on. Another example of poka-yoke is what we call the safe surgery checklist. So the safe surgery checklist is a list that is used in the operation rooms in order to verify before a surgery, during a surgery, and at the end of surgery, different quality elements and mainly safety element for the patient. Is it the right patient in the right room for the right surgical intervention with the right surgeon, the right nurse, the right anesthetist, and so on and so on. And so by going through that checklist, we prevent error and mistakes by operating the wrong patient or the wrong organ and so on. So those are examples of poka-yoke in a hospital. Another example is the Andon. So the Andon, which is the old-style Japanese word for paper lantern, is a way to signal a quality problem by stopping the line. As Pierre explained, in the factory, you can pull the Andon and stop the line and in order to ask for help for another worker in order to solve the issue you are facing. So, example, in an operation room, if the operation is about to start and the equipment has not been sterilized or all the material is not ready or not available, then it is mandatory for the people in the operation room to pull the Andon, stop the procedure, not putting the patient into sleep, and eventually fix the problem or postpone the patient or find the right material. But those are the several checks, quality checks that we are doing in the operation room. Another example, if a new drug, which is not dangerous, but has the same color as others that are easily recognized as being dangerous. So how do you manage to avoid confusion for the nurses of the doctors if two drugs have the same colors, but not the same dangerousness? So how to apply this to an hospital? First, is everybody aware that they are allowed to stop operation for such cases? In the majority of cases, yes, they are aware, essentially because in the hospitals, everybody from the physician to the nurse, or even the IT guy. Everybody is there for the patient, the safety of the patient, and the care of the patient. So yes, we have to stop the operation in such cases. And will they receive immediate support from the supervisors? Certainly. Certainly, they will receive support from the supervisors, because the goal, as I said, is to treat the patient. So this is the example of the application of the Andon concept in an hospital. So let's go for the last one we wanted to speak about today is GKK, so Jikotei Kenketsu, which is building quality with ownership. So in fact, the concept behind GKK is that you check the quality of what you do before going to the next station and to the next step. And then I can give you an example which happened in a hospital, which is not the one I'm working in, hopefully, is in all hospitals, we are performing maintenance in the operation rooms once a year, twice a year, depending on the environment. And in hospital, what happened is that the maintenance was performed, but the air conditioning was not tested at the end of the maintenance. The consequence was that the first operation that occurs in that operation room, at a certain moment of time, the surgeon was feeling too hot. He asked to turn on the air conditioning, what the nurse did. And what happened at that time, all the dust in the air conditioning system just fell into the patient. This is an example of not checking, and the story ends well, no harm for the patient, a lot of stress for everyone. But this is an example of a task where there was no check at the end that the quality was sufficient in order to go to the next step. I will now hand over to Pierre, who will explain a little bit what he did in our hospital about training and implementation.
Okay, thank you, Jacques. So the first thing I always think about is if the top management of the hospital is not willing to do lean, it's probably not worth starting. You are going to frustrate many people. First of all, Jacques is a member of the board of management of the hospital, and the CEO wanted to do lean in the hospital. So the first thing we did is give a training. Of course, it's difficult to get days of the top management, but we got half a day of awareness session where we explained not only the theory of lean, but also made a few exercises to show them what lean means in practice. And then we moved to 2 days training sessions, which have in the end a yellow belt certificate, but that's not the most important thing. They understand what lean can do for them, that can really help them, and most importantly, that we get them started with lean. So we had teams from PMO, Project Management Office, who are doing all the projects in the hospital. We had a team from pharmacy. It was very important that they apply lean, or the team looking at the patient journey, etc. Seeing all these people gave us the opportunity to get a lot of feedback also, and we always ask them, what are your problems? Yeah, not just explain what Toyota is doing in automotive, which is very difficult to understand for people. What's in it for me, basically? Yes, so we took concrete examples, concrete problems they had, and we had exercises with them, problems they had. Next slide, please. And I said already, but we had many examples from hospitals. Honestly, in the last training, we had even more than in the first training, because we learned a lot along the way. And we check the knowledge is acquired through an example with simple questions, but also questions that force students to think more about what lean really is. And we ask each student to work on an actual project, choosing and starting the projects with them during the training. That's very important, because if I give a training and then I go out and I'm not there, then people have all their other priorities surfacing back on it. So really get them interested in a project that is important for them, that will help them, and then following up. And we are in this phase now, and so they will present their projects results, so probably an A3 document to the hospital top management, which in turn will motivate the top management to see, oh, there's really something in it with lean, and we should do more of this. We should give it more. Next slide. We got some very good student feedback after the last day of training, but we ask every day. And of course, we got at the beginning comments like, yeah, you still have too many examples from automotive. We want really examples from hospitals. So we increased more and more the concrete examples that they could directly understand and apply. And yeah, I have to admit, they taught us as much as we taught them. And it will be really exciting to see the actual changes that are created by those projects. Next. And so now we come to the Q&A part. Please add more questions, but we have two questions. The first one, I would like to take it myself, Jacques, is because it's let's say lean technical questions. I would almost say from Kulac. I know her from the Lean Institute Turkey. She says removing Muri first without removing Mura yet means have more resources, isn't it? And of course, I understand the questions. You're always short of resources in a hospital, but for Toyota, it is really something that's non-negotiable because Muri means overburden. And if you overburden people, they don't do a good job. And so you really have to start by removing overburden. But of course, it's by removing all kinds of waste, you will create time that you won't have in the beginning when you remove overburden. So I fully understand the question. But Toyota really has only one order, is then create Heijunka, so leveling, and then remove all the kinds of muda. Of course, if you see a muda today and it immediately, just do it. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you want to add anything on this, Jacques.
No, perfect. And
If
I will take the second question from Ilana.
yes. Okay, you
Yes,
see that. Perfect. Yes.
yes, Ilana, you are totally correct. And I think that the patient have also the same feeling that today in a lot of hospitals, the physicians and the nurse are spending most of their time behind the computer and not together with the patient. And this is also one of the reasons implementing lean, because implementing lean helps to improve all the processes and also free up time for the physician and for the nurses and for the different people in the organization to spend more time with the patient. The goal of lean is not only to see more patient and make more profit, is to also, as I said, to free up time for you, for your patient, because this is, I think, even important for the patients.
Okay. Thank you. And in the meantime, we have a question from Ketan about Mura. Jacques, you see the question? Or?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you take it where I'm reading the others?
Yeah, okay. So, of course, there's an unevenness in demand. You have I saw an example of a hospital in Geneva or in France, which is very close to the ski area. They know very well that in the winter they will have many people coming with broken legs, much more than in the summer, for example. So definitely this is very important. But one thing you can do with lean, and which is super difficult in hospital, is to accept the idea that you will move resources from one department of the hospital to another one. You may have situations where one department is super powerful and they find ways to keep very large resources, while actually other departments may need them more. So to be able to look dynamically at the demand and really reallocate resources based on the demand is a very important thing. Well, I don't say it's easy. Yeah?
I will tell you the next one for Michael. Where did we start? No, we did not create a model cell. What we decided is to have the N-1 from the executive committee trained and also N-2 in specific areas. As Pierre explained, pharmacy, patient journey handling, so the department which manage all the appointments of the patients. And the third one is the management of our operation rooms, endoscopy and angiography. So the people managing the operation of those area. And the last the team that we trained are our central program management office. So we decided to start with those 4 areas because we believe those are also the areas where the implementation of the lean philosophy will be the most visible, and also where we will gain the fastest return on investment in the first stage. And then the idea is to use those as model for the other part of the organization. For the question from Irena, so the last training was in September, so it's not so long ago. So what we will, so I can't tell you today what tools have been implemented at the hospital because the people who follow the training are implementing them in their different projects. And so in a couple of months, we will be able to see what are the results. What cultural shift have you found most critical for success from Melina? It's really first the fact that for some people, lean is just a set of tools. For others, is a diploma that you can get because you have a green belt, yellow belt, black belt, and so on and so on. For other people, that's only applied to factories and to groceries, or but not in hospital. So the most difficult part there was at the beginning is to say, yes, we are a hospital, we are not an industry, and in a hospital we can apply lean philosophy in order to have smoother handling of the patient, better operation, and as I said earlier, more time with the patient. So the most critical part is the applicability, convince the people of the applicability in a hospital. And hospitals are also an area where it's very hard to change. The resistance of change is quite impressive. Nevertheless, and Pierre, I think you can confirm it, the people attending the trainings and the sessions were really willing to move ahead and to do that change.
Yeah, and I want to add, indeed, Melina has asked 2 questions. So second one says, introducing lean often requires cultural change. What steps have you taken to build buy-in among hospital staff? Well, of course, the hospital has 6,000 staff. Yeah? So we have not trained 6,000 people. But the people we trained were quite enthusiastic and starting projects, which I believe may change because we helped them also make sense because we helped them choose the projects that would really bring something. And then if you look at the presentation, you can start by doing things that are simple, like 5S or Kaizen, or just talk to your internal customer. We have a project, for example, where there's a replenishment from the pharmacy that happens a certain number of times, and they decided to remove one of the times that is unplanned, but that seems to happen every week. So these are really very concrete projects where they know that they feel that it's possible to do it, and they are really working on it now. However, when you talk about projects like removing waiting rooms in the hospital, you can understand that this is a huge thing that is impossible to do as the first one. But you must constantly keep in mind that you have an ambition, which is not that everybody has done 5S in their workplace. Your ambition must go much further than that. And by doing problem solving systematically, by training many more people to do problem solving, you will uncover many uncovered or not solved today. And they are things that are very simple. Yeah, somebody said, "Oh, we have soup for the patients in the winter, and in the summer we bring them soup as well." But we see that every day we throw away a large quantity of soup. Why do we do that? Well, there's no reason why we do that. Yeah, so let's just reduce the quantity of soup, or maybe don't offer soup in the summer. So by having the discussions and the training with the people, they come up by themselves with things that they see in their environment that they have always found.
Yeah, Pierre, your sound, yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Now
we are
the
cut
phone is
because
very
it's
bad, so
1930.
I think the time is over. Maybe we'll be kicked out
Yeah,
of the room, but I will
yeah,
just
I
try
think we are
to
getting
answer the
kicked out.
last question of Melina. What step do you did we took to buy building? I think to buy buy-in to build buy-in.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I think is in the hospitals today, I think it's all over the world like that. People are really under pressure, and a lot of pressure of activity, and so by showing that implementing that philosophy in the first areas that we will just give them some more air and some breathing capacity in the day-to-day task, then you build buy-in. It's always what's in it for me, and I think uh, we can, by changing the organization piece by piece, really improve it and make it more efficient for everyone.
Can you show the last slide, Jacques? I'm not sure that people are still in the webinar, but there's a last slide with the coordinates. Yeah, thank you.
Oh.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.